Good evening and welcome to the Caring View, the online social care chat show previously exclusive to YouTube, but you can now find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and various podcasting sites. Before we get started tonight, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, there's a star. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn, and subscribe to our podcasts. That way, you will never miss out on an episode. And as always, the views we express in tonight's show are of our own and not our respective companies. Mark, I would say it's been ages since we had a show because we weren't live last week, but we did have our first ever in-person episode down at the London Excel, the Helpless Care Show. What an experience!
Yeah, no, it's strange because it feels really long ago since the actual show. When I was kind of doing the banners and bits and pieces for tonight, I was like, oh, that was the last one we did live, and you kind of forget the one that we did at the Excel. But yeah, no, it was such a good show at the Excel. It kind of brought a different angle of the show, and it was great to kind of be in person, meet you, and I think a lot of people don't realise that actually we've only met once before. So yeah, the second time. So yeah, no, it was great to be live. How did you find it? You were rushing all over the place.
Oh, I mean, for those who don't know, the Helpless Care Show is run by the same team who do the Care Show, which takes place at the latter half of the year. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, we've gone from being in a pandemic where we can't even talk to our neighbours to being able to be back in an auditorium full of, I mean, I was going to say thousands of people. There was a lot of people there. You know, exhibitors and talkers alone. There was a ton of people there. It was just incredible. It was great to represent the IHSCM. We had 5 panels while we were there, but it was also good to bring the Caring View finally down in person. I think it was brilliant. Obviously, we had previous guests on joining us. We didn't want to go rogue and bring a new gallery of guests with us, but it was great to meet Sonia again. It was great to meet Jane Brightman again. It was great to finally meet Damien in person. It was a shame Kira couldn't join us in person, but we loved having her views included. I think you managed to get a pre-record with her prior to. And it's something we're conscious about is the variety, the diversity, the inclusion of the Caring View moving forwards, isn't it? We want to make sure that we represent everybody as much as we possibly can do, and that's a message we're taking to these shows as well. They are willing to listen, they are willing to learn and adapt. They're happy there's these new faces coming forwards now, and we're able to go, well, actually, instead of putting me on the panel, can you choose somebody else who may not be represented as much as I am? You know, let's look at the people who are using care and try and get them involved as well. I know that's something we're doing at the Institute. It's something that I've taken from the Caring View and I've taken over to the Institute. And it's about making sure that they're recognised, remunerated and paid. And, you know, we are going to look at avenues this year, aren't we, how we can make that more possible for guests of the Caring View. We want to try and do what we can towards people. So it was just great to finally realize that for the first time ever in person. It was good, but yes, it was exhausting, absolutely exhausting, but so much fun. News wise, I don't think there's anything majorly new, is there?
No, it seems to be quite quiet on the kind of social care news. There's not much kind of floating around or anything. I think, other than the obvious, there's a lot of articles kind of in the Guardian and iNews about social care failing and bits and pieces, but it's kind of the same story kind of floating around about staffing, discharges from hospitals being delayed because there's no beds or in the community or care homes. So yeah, other than that, it's quite quiet.
Don't get me started on hospital discharges tonight because I can tell you some stories about hospital discharges. I mean, news-wise for me, we've obviously got monkeypox. You know, that's the COVID of 2022 apparently at the minute because there's 20 people, well, 50 people now in the country. I'm just worried that, you know, like how when something bad happens, let's say a volcano goes off. Do you remember the volcano in Iceland? And the volcano went off and everyone couldn't go flying for like 2 weeks or something and people were grounded and it was horrific. We didn't hear anything but about volcanoes for like the next 6 months because every single time there was like a rumbling, there's another volcano, there's another volcano. I just hope we're not going to get like that now with the simplest of infections or, you know, the rarest of infections. Like, oh my gosh, Ebola's coming back to the UK, and you know, like, do you remember how they used to try and scaremonger us? The public have had enough. I've had enough of it now. I don't want to have to think constantly that I'm going to have to isolate for another 3 weeks moving forwards. Yes, we've got to be sensible. Yes, we've got to be serious. But I think the media have some real sort of lessons to learn from this, and I think we need to not bolster things up as much as they potentially could be. And then the only other concern came out last week, wasn't it, about the rate of inflation hitting a 40-year high, which is going to affect care businesses. It is going to affect care homes, but it's also going to affect people living at home who hire their own care assistants. What are they going to have to sacrifice to be able to continue to afford their PAs? I think Kira mentioned it perfectly. The title of our show in London was "Whose Responsibility Is It to Fix Social Care?" And Kira bravely said simply the government. They can't afford to continue living like this, and she's worried that we're going to head into a recession, which is only going to hinder her ability to continue using care properly and other people using care properly. So it's never about just money, but I think at this moment in time, there's a lot to do about money that's going to concern people moving forwards. But enough with the doom and gloom. What are we discussing tonight?
Tonight, we are discussing hints and tips to increase movement. So we've got the fabulous Meetvina, who is joining us, who has done some great work. And some people might recognise her throughout the pandemic because she appeared on television and bits and pieces. So I will bring her in to introduce herself. Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Hi, guys. Oh, I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for having me on tonight.
No, thank you very much for joining us. So, are you able to introduce yourself, let everybody know what you do, a bit about you, and how you got involved in doing some workouts and bits and pieces?
Yes. So I'm Meetvina, like you said. I am the founder of Feel Good with Meetvina. It's kind of the brand and my mission to help all ages feel good physically, mentally, and help reduce risks of chronic illness through the power of exercise. And I'm more importantly a mum of 3, and I've also got a little cavapoo who's like my 4th child. And yeah, I kicked off. Actually, I only qualified as a personal trainer 4 years ago. So I gave up my corporate role after having my 3rd child. I used to be a program manager, stroke project manager on the sort of IT trading side. So very, very different to what I do now. And I qualified as a personal trainer after going through my own wellness journey. Really just sat the exams because I loved what exercise, especially strength training, did for me personally, and never really imagined it to be a new career path. I used to train women. So after I did qualify, a lot of friends and women found out. So I used to train women 1-to-1, and I have a private gym. So that went really, really well. And then obviously the COVID pandemic hit us in March. And just prior to that, I had had the wonderful opportunity of being on Sky News a few times, talking about my concept of exercise snacking, which they found my sort of daily advent calendar that I was doing in December 2019, where you would see me going into all sorts of places doing, short bite-sized amounts of movement. So it's all about trying to break down the barriers of exercise, like cost, time, and motivation, starting off with as small as a minute, and every minute counts. So you saw me doing things like star jumps in the park, doing bicep curls in my local Waitrose, and just trying to get it fun and put little ideas into people's heads about how they can move and build it into their lifestyles. And I got an amazing reach, obviously, from being on Sky a couple of times before the pandemic. Realized I would love to help more people, and just kicked off Instagram lives before most personal trainers started sharing content, once COVID had hit us. But I just grabbed my husband and my son, and we did lunchtime exercise snacks every day, just to get people moving, create a sense of community. And we did some fun games in the garden. They're all on my Instagram. You can search them out. From things like toilet roll games, a little football activities to get, everyone's moods lifted, immune system stronger, and, combat loneliness, because obviously and a lot of anxiety around the pandemic. So boosting people's moods and just putting a smile on their faces. And it was an amazing response. I had like global people joining us, all ages, including, my parents that are in their 70s trying to get onto Instagram, and realized that, I wanted to try and cater and help also the less mobile, the vulnerable, the elderly. And although I started an evening program as well, that was like a longer structured workout. You know, we had stretch days, we had strength training, we did HIIT, we did it really structured to allow the body to rest and people to learn good form and technique being virtual. And I got my mother-in-law, who's 70, she was 73, she's going to be 75 this year, very camera shy at first. And she started doing chair workouts with me. And again, the response was phenomenal, something I never imagined. You know, people up to the age, I think at that point we had like 97-year-olds. We had people with, you know, all sorts of chronic conditions, from Parkinson's to multiple sclerosis to just people with diabetes that were, you know, trying to stay healthy and stay fit through the pandemic. And it was, yeah, it was fabulous having her by my side. And I've designed a whole set of specially designed sort of exercises you can do from the comfort of your homes, your chairs, even on the sofa, I say, for everyone that's sitting too long, which is pretty much all of us. And using, you know, no fancy equipment. You'll see on my YouTube channel where all the workouts are saved that we use things like tins and plastic bottles and concepts that I actually talked about on Sky News, and people were laughing a few months before the pandemic, has now, you know, become the new world, and how fitness has really changed. So the rest is kind of history. It's something I've continued every Friday. So we go live every Friday at 10 o'clock across all my channels. Over the pandemic, I did a lot of different platforms to try and get as much reach as I could, you know, in the UK, in other countries as well. It was fabulous. And yeah, I've continued, and I've now got into care homes over, I'd say, probably the last just over a year. So we've had up to the age of 100. And yeah, there's a lovely lady who joins regularly. A lot of people with dementia and Alzheimer's, which is a charity. Alzheimer's Society is a charity that I've been supporting, as well as being an ambassador for Diabetes UK. So it is really trying to help people just get moving and realize it doesn't have to cost anything. It doesn't have to be difficult. And I want them to enjoy it, and everything, even a minute counts. So yeah, a very sort of long but intro about me, but feel free to ask me whatever else you want to.
I wasn't being rude being on my phone. I'm literally just flicking through your Instagram now as we're chatting. And it's incredible. And, you know, you touch on so many things. I mean, I'm starting my own health kick at the minute. I turned 33 on Thursday last week, and I just sat there and I thought, oh, I need to do something, you know, with my life, be better now. So I find this all utterly interesting. I think for me, I think that the idea of being able to work out on your own home is a confidence booster for some, because being able to go out and do it public is an issue. But I'm just flicking through your Instagram now, and you incorporate so much of the stuff that I believe in, but also my partner believes in. So meditation and mental health, and that mindfulness of being in your own place, being able to ground yourself. I think there's a video of you here meditating on a beach, I think it is. And, you know, being able to ground in nature is so important as well. So it's not just about that physical health. So when it comes to your Instagram, what's your inspiration behind doing your videos? Because there's so much on here that I wouldn't even know how you started. Your life just looks incredibly busy. So how do you plan your exercise routines?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've just embraced every opportunity. You know, I just put myself out there, in the sense that if it just helps one person, to me, that's, you know, a tick in the box. It's genuine feedback. I am constantly developing content. What you see on Instagram is the sort of real me. I'm, you know, not a typical sort of 20-something-year-old personal trainer. I'm older. I've got children. I want to help all ages. So, you know, you've touched on the mental health side, and I'm so passionate about that, because it's definitely helped. Exercise has helped me through challenges in life. And, you know, I kind of want to share that in like easy, digestible ways. So the whole sort of bite-sized concept. And my slogan has really been, through the pandemic, and it will continue to be, exercise for sanity, not vanity. So I think everyone's, although we all want to look good to feel good, there's so much we can do through hitting the sort of government guidelines, like building up, starting very small, but by eventually hitting those government guidelines and what's recommended, we can reduce risks of all chronic illnesses, from everything like cancers, diabetes, Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, even early death and depression. So yeah, I use things like, I've called them breath snacks. It's all about snacks for me. It's like, with the pun, but I call it the healthiest type of snacking around. So you'll see on my Instagram, which holds a lot of, most of my content, all my chair workouts are saved on YouTube as well, to make that accessible to obviously the elderly, which was, the big sort of demographic that I was really trying to help at the beginning of the pandemic. But yeah, content is literally, I call them feel good walks, and I go out and I'll have a crazy idea or a spark, and I'll just try and share it in some sort of format. So yeah, have a good look through. There's probably a lot of content out there. But hopefully someone will find a snack, that works for you, whether it's a stretch snack, something simple. I talk about mobility work, things that we can do while we're sitting. So any viewers, even watching now, you could just be doing some simple leg extensions. You could be doing some shoulder rolls, some neck rolls, just trying to keep the blood flowing and prevent all of our tech neck and, the back pain associated with sedentary lifestyles. And it's interesting that the science shows now that these sort of small spikes that you get, in our metabolism every time you work out, the more frequent they are, they're saying that this sort of type of movement regularly, short bouts, may be as effective, if not greater, than an hour's workout. So you don't have to go to a gym, you don't have to have expensive gym membership. You don't have to have that time carved out in your day. 5 minutes is a great place to start.
I mean, I think for me, 5 minutes is perfect, because for anybody that knows me well, I do not do any exercise. And I love the whole concept, and it's called snacks. And I think when I kind of look back over, we used to do chair exercises in the care home, but I feel like it's quite a new kind of concept, so definitely in social care, and there's not kind of many people talking about it. But obviously, I know that you obviously did a lot of work in care homes over the pandemic. How did you kind of move away from kind of being kind of on national TV and getting into the care home side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I get so much satisfaction with the care home side because I can relate. My grandmother had Alzheimer's for the last decade of her life. And I think it's also an area that, being South Asian, so I'm Indian, British Asian, but a lot of the South Asian communities, especially, don't talk about things like dementia and Alzheimer's. They also find it very hard to sort of, put a loved one in that care home. And it was something that, my family had to do just to look after my grandmother. And every time, I see the care homes, they're regularly joining, even now. A lot of them have used them as part of their weekly activity program, which is wonderful. So even if they can't join live on a Friday, I get messages that they've used the workouts on a regular basis. They've been approved by the physios that come into the homes, which has, made me even happier that, it's all professionally sort of approved by physios as well. And, it's not about being able to do all the exercises that I show. You'll see even on some of the clips that I put on Instagram of some of the homes that have, let me share the pictures. The visuals are so amazing that they may not be able to do all the exercises, but it's the smiles and the happiness, and it's the fact that they're joining in, and the exercise boosts your moods and the endorphins, and it gives them, something to look forward to in their day. So I love getting, the feedback from the care homes. I would love to get my workouts into every single care home, at least in the UK, if not globally at some point. And because it's free, and it's, accessible, I'm hoping, on YouTube, it's a case of just hitting play, getting them in there. And obviously I have some homes where, they may need a member of staff or a couple of members of staff to sort of join in with them. I think the members of staff have also enjoyed it as well. So yeah, it would be wonderful, to sort of be able to share it in all the homes. But it gives me immense satisfaction, as you can see.
Oh no, and I think you touched on a point there, which I was going to raise. Is I kind of look back and I remember, the exercises were fun for staff as well, and we had a lot of staff that were actually really engaged with it, and actually were like, "No, this is the start of something," and it kind of took them on a journey of actually we're going to be healthier, we're going to lose weight, and let's do this together. And we used to do chair exercises a couple of times a week, and Carl's mentioned it in the comment that some people need assistance and encouragement, and you need those staff that want to be involved. You don't want ones that hate exercise, don't want to do it. And we used to have staff that would be like, "Can you do it on this day when I'm going to be on shift? So I really want to support X to do it." And yeah, I think it's great. It's such a good bonding thing between the staff member and the person they're supporting as well. And you put some music on in the background or something, and it just kind of, the music and doing the exercise just brings out a different side of somebody, and it just creates that conversation to flow. But Adam, have you got any questions? I saw you unmiked.
Yeah, no, I was just going to come in on that as well, because obviously my experience is elderly dementia homes. I used to run a home care service, and an elderly dementia home was in there for sort of 10 years. And this is so encouraging. I set up, and it's a shame we never met, Lavina. I set up a virtual activities group for people on Facebook during the pandemic. We got care homes linking up via Zoom so we could share Tai Chi sessions and darts tournaments, bingo sessions. And it's always great to try and get everyone involved in a home. But there's something about, and this is on the sort of care side of care aspect sort of things. Carl's mentioned that you can't always tell if they're happy. It's always important to make sure we know what people's baselines are. And this is why holistic care plans are important, to be able to understand what people are usually like, so we can understand what pain triggers look like, we can understand what happy triggers look like. And it's about trying to judge those responses as well, because we don't want to force people to do things they don't want to do. But invariably, activities and exercise usually do brighten everyone's day, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. It needs to happen. So I've already said I'm starting out on my new journey now, and I am going to be gymming it. I've got, honestly, the clothes, I've got my water bottle, all the, I've got everything, and I am going to go for it. I used to go to the gym many years ago, and then I got in, stuff happened in social care which gave us no life, and the only thing I wanted to do was go home and go to bed, and now I work from home. I have no real excuse. How do we get started? What are the small changes we can start making now, even if we're not going to go to the gym? What can we do? And I know you've spoken about doing your shoulder rolls and things like that, but what other little changes can we introduce to our lives to become healthier? Be that diet, be that mentally, what are the other things that we can sit there and go, I can do that tomorrow. I can do that after I finish watching the Care in View.
Oh yeah. So I would always recommend trying to maybe go for like a 5 or 10 minute what I call feel good walks. Ideally, we've touched on, being outdoors if the weather's good, in nature to reap those mental health benefits. I talk about forest bathing and all these incredible sciences that, there's a lot of research out there about nature and how it helps us mentally. So
sorry to interrupt, but can I just say,
Yeah.
if people don't know what forest bathing is, look it up. It is the most we love rambling, we love going into the woods. There's a place near us called Fairy Glen. Forest bathing is just the most magical stuff, and I fully encourage. I can't believe you mentioned it. Forest bathing. Sorry to interrupt you, Lavina.
No, I mean, people think I'm nuts, and I stuck it on Instagram where I'm hugging a tree. I'm not. I'm glad Adam's nodding away. Mark's probably thinking, "What are these guys talking about?" But yeah, it doesn't mean you have to go and hug a tree. There's a whole science, and it's from Japan, and it is literally, almost like the trees are giving off good vibes, and you're picking them up. I mean, I won't go into the whole technical side, but I think everyone will agree that sometimes just getting out, even for 5 minutes, if you're feeling sort of dipping in energy, or if you're about to face a big problem, or if you're stressed, or even just to boost productivity and anxiety, creativity when you're working, I always recommend going out for a walk. ideally. If you can't get out, and if you're mobile enough, I used a concept called stair snacking, which again has a lot of research. So all my stuff is, scientifically backed because I love the science behind exercise. And I was promoting stair snacking during lockdowns where there's an amazing study where people were doing 3 flights of stairs 3 times a day over a 6-week period, and they saw incredible improvements to their cardiovascular health, their respiratory systems, and their overall body strength. So simple tools like that, like if you can't get out, and you don't have to do 3 flights, you could just start off by doing 1 flight. And that's how I discovered it, because I was about to go on a radio interview, and I was in this office building, and I went up the stairs, and I was a personal trainer at the time, and I was totally out of breath. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm about to talk about, World Heart Day and give all this advice about cardiovascular systems. And I think I brought it up in the interview. I said, I was actually out of breath coming up the stairs just now. And it's sometimes those little moments where you think, okay, I want to get the heart and my stamina a little bit stronger. And you could just start off with a couple of steps, a couple of times a day, build up to a little bit longer. So tying things on to existing habits. So I like always suggesting, maybe doing 3 flights of stairs before your meals, or maybe going for a 5 or 10 minute walk after your meals, which also helps your blood sugars and your digestion. I've suggested recently, where I train women again, I've just started doing groups in my home gym as well. And we were talking last night about balance, and it's something that I bring into all of the workouts, on YouTube with my mother-in-law. And it's great because she does everything seated. I give standing options. So it's kind of relatable having her there. So people get motivated, when they see someone that's nearly 75 doing press ups and doing sit and stands and doing things that she may not have been able to do a few years ago. But we were talking about balance, and balance work is, really important as we age to try and reduce our risks of falls. It's also great for younger people that are training in gyms to try and correct muscular imbalances. And it doesn't mean, you've got to stand on one foot for a minute. It means that you have the chair in our workouts or the wall, and you've got something stable or someone with you. And it may, if you can't stand, I even say just do leg extensions where I'm lifting my leg out in front. Have a look on my YouTube because you can't see me doing it now. But it's like, simple movements that we could do, almost like when people don't notice, when you're in the advert breaks watching TV, or if you're on a meeting like this, or on Zoom, or on YouTube and watching, you could just be doing simple exercises even under the table. But yeah, balance work, I was saying last night to the ladies, I was suggesting, when you brush your teeth, the 30 seconds, we could all start trying to build up to 30 seconds on each foot, and do it a couple of times while you're brushing your teeth. It's a whole spectrum. So it's not just the fitness, I'm not a nutritionist, but my mum is a biological scientist, and she wrote a cookery book all on the science behind food, which is where my whole Feel Good brand comes from. It's called Feel Good with Food. And she researched, how important it is to have lovely, colourful, home cooked, ideally, foods, eating, a range of vegetables and fruits. And, you've got all that sort of Mediterranean style diet where we're trying to cut out the processed foods. And it's not about cutting out food groups, but it's about having everything in balance, making sure we're getting enough fiber and protein. And whether you're plant-based or not, we know, how incredible greens and colors are for you. So trying to just make those little tweaks in our diet as well, because it does play hand in hand with the fitness side. And equally, I think things like meditation, breath work, mindfulness, we've talked about, is so important for our stressful lives, our busy lives, and mental health going forwards. And also sleep. So sleep is has a huge part to play. So I always recommend to everyone, try and get 7 to 8 hours sleep. Being hydrated, things like little tips, filling up a 2 liter bottle and just seeing if you can get through it during the day. There's lots of little ways that we can just try, and you don't have to do everything at once. Maybe just set yourself what I call a snack size goal and just say, I put it on my Instagram stories most Mondays, and I just put a little box in there, and I get people's, little goals. It may just be that I'm gonna, eat less chocolate, just have a little bite of dark chocolate in the evenings, which is wonderful for you, by the way. Or it may be that I'm going to go for a feel good walk every day, and it doesn't have to be a whole half an hour walk, but I love seeing people's little goals, and I call them snack size goals. So it's kind of easy to digest and nothing too overwhelming.
I'm listening and I'm thinking, God, I need to sort out my life. Like,
Oh,
I don't
no.
sleep. I don't sleep. I probably only get about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and my fluid intake is abysmal. And yeah,
Oh,
and
gosh.
my
Oh,
diet,
no.
Adam will tell you, and so will my wife, is equally a shock. I mean, I do eat a lot of fruit and veg, and I do kind of incorporate it, but along with a lot of Nutella and peanut butter. But
Oh, I love peanut butter.
yeah. What was I going to ask you? So you touched on, when you were talking about the stair exercises, obviously that doing that can help with the cardiovascular. What other benefits and outcomes have you seen for people either living in care homes or other people that you've supported or that you've heard from across the world?
What was that? Sorry, what are the benefits I've seen?
Yeah, what other benefits have you seen or
Yeah.
people have told you about?
Gosh, I had so many. So obviously, before it kind of got to the level where, I was honored with this amazing MBE, which was totally out of the blue. But when I went on a lot of the news channels, when it was announced, ITV were kind of basically saying that the Queen had found out about my chair workouts, and all the exercise snacks and everything, which was amazing. But I got a lot of feedback before that. So it was that first initial year where I had people all ages just messaging and saying things like, so I've seen benefits, especially with both my mum, who joins on Zoom, and my mother-in-law, who's obviously live with me every week. Osteoarthritis, so they both had a lot of knee pain, and it's very common, as we age. I always get asked about knee pain. And both their knees, touch wood, now don't hurt, and their osteoarthritis seems to have, completely calmed down. So it's from the strengthening exercises. So I really, do believe that even if you can't do a full sit and stand, I give options where you could be doing other leg exercises, even seated. They've both seen excellent results in that. My mother-in-law has reversed her pre-diabetes, so she was heading towards the diabetes level, and that's just very close to home. But I've had lots of people mention blood pressure improvements, diabetes reverse, which is only for type 2. But we do know that a lot of people living with pre-diabetes as well, and that can also be reversed through lifestyle, exercise, good nutrition. I've had people's I guess, mental health is a hard one to gauge, but even during the sessions, I always kind of say, I often say, how did you feel at the beginning of the workout? And sometimes it's you're not in a great mood or you're not in a great place. And then I ask them at the end of the workout, where they may have just done whatever they could do. It doesn't have to be the full workout, but generally I will see on Zoom the people that I can see, and I have people streaming in on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Zoom to try and get everyone, accessible. But generally you'll see people improvement on mood. So they will kind of give me a number that I'm feeling better, or a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or even just a smile. But yeah, I think, osteoporosis is a huge one that I'm really trying to promote. And as we age, it's like dementia, where I work with Alzheimer's Society, that all these things actually start off, much earlier than people expect, especially with dementia. I always say that, it starts in your 30s or 40s. It's in that midlife period. And especially for women, the risks of dementia are much higher. And all these things, exercise can play such a huge role in trying to help reduce our risks. So it's only going to be of benefit. But I think people don't realize, with Alzheimer's and dementia, they just think it's going to happen at old age. But what I say during all the workouts is, we may be doing bicep curls, but then we may add in some heel raises. And just by adding in another type of movement, and I say we're keeping our brains fit because you're trying to coordinate. Maybe I'm getting them to do some boxing or some, high knees with some rope pulls on the arms, and that's all seated as well. But I say, let's try to coordinate our arms and our legs at the same time, and we're keeping our brains fit because you are trying to get those neurons to focus on all the muscles and the parts of the body that we're working on. So it's trying to explain the concepts, like we could all say, oh, exercise is going to make you healthier, but it's, I guess, putting it in practice and making it fun for them. So, when I see like 90, 100-year-olds punching and boxing away with me, or I took them skipping last week and I said, let's go for a little swim. We're all going swimming together. We're all just pretending. I said, just close your eyes, visualize you're in a beautiful ocean. But we're all doing virtual swimming together. It's quite a wonderful feeling. And I want them to feel part of the community, even if they're not on Zoom. Just wherever you are, I want you to feel good, right? And just feel part that we're all working out together. It's almost that energy that we're all kind of creating as a community together. So yeah, it's I've had incredible, feedback. I remember one of them over the pandemic where a young guy walked into his mum who has Parkinson's, and she wasn't able to move much, but she had me on screen and she was literally just trying to do, some like point and flexing with her fingers and just getting things circulating, or just the fact, he said, that you were on screen and she looked happier and she had something to do. Those are benefits you can't really quantify, but are just, so powerful, right?
I think it's incredible, and even we, Mark and I know this. Everyone, and you will know this yourself. We don't do this for the thanks, but to be able to see the wonderful benefits that you can bring to people's lives is heartwarming, and it's hard not to feel that sort of self-sensitive gratification. I would love to know whether you got a video of the Queen doing it from her gilded throne. I mean, Mark will know I'm not a royalist myself, so any chance I get to mock the Queen being on a throne, I think would be great to see her actually getting involved with the
Oh,
chair exercises.
yeah, that's one of my goals. I need to get a member of the royal family. I did say that to Princess Anne when I was at my MBE investiture, and she was, pinning it on me. And I said, I'd love to get a member of the royal family. And she was so lovely. She knew all about my work, and she didn't dismiss it. So I have to just keep dreaming, right? You've got to keep sort of dreaming big in life. So watch this space, as they say.
I just want to come back to the mental health and the mental mindset and the well-being mindset of things, because I'm a firm believer that we create our own destinies. So I believe that we can manifest, and the energy that we put out to the universe is pretty much the energy we're going to get back. So if I'm going to go out into the day thinking I'm going to have an absolutely crap day, I'm going to have a crap day because I've allowed that energy to come inwards. So you have to be in that mindset to want to overcome problems, to overcome barriers, to overcome issues when it comes to exercise. So yes, you might not be able to mobilize on your legs, but there's the upper body, the arm strength, the torso work. You can do your neck work. There is seated exercises. Yes, that might come with a bit of additional pain for you. How would you recommend someone gets themselves into that place? Is there an affirmation technique that you use? Is there a mantra that you have going on in your head? Is there something specific that you do to get your mind into that? I'm going to exercise and have a great day today. Or is there anything that you can suggest for people watching this who may struggle?
Yeah, I mean, I look very upbeat in all my videos, but lately on Instagram as well, I've been posting the sort of real videos where, I've come on, maybe I'm emotional, I've got no makeup on, I'm not having a great day. I want to keep it real. I'm not always, there's been so many times where I was juggling the homeschooling, the family being at home, trying to provide. I had the new puppy and I was going live twice a day, lunchtime and the evening. And it was, quite a crazy period of my life where, we're coming together with this whole everyone under the same roof as well. And there were times where I actually said on Instagram, that I actually didn't want to go live today. But thanks to you guys, you kind of helped me through this workout, because I know we're all sort of doing it together, be it virtual or not. And normally as soon as I hit that live button, I feel, you could see I'm very passionate about this topic. So, and I know myself what it's done for me, like through periods of my life. I lost my father-in-law from a brain tumor within like 6 months of his diagnosis. He was very fit, very healthy, incredible man, like my best friend. He would have done all the workouts with me over the last few years. But it's times like that where, I then turned to exercise, and it gave me that sanity that I'm talking about. It just gave me that focus, that escapism almost, where I could kind of switch off from all my worries in the world. And I use techniques like that. I know where it's, when I felt down, and it will boost my mood, whether it's a minute of star jumps, whether it's a few press ups against the kitchen island, while I'm steaming or cooking the food, whether it's like 10 squats in the morning, or even if it's just a stretch in the evening, like it's just a bit of self-care, I feel. And that is the message. It is investing in your own body as well as your mind. And like I say, techniques where I know that bottling up that feeling afterwards, I always feel better after movement. And I don't know, obviously, if you're in pain and if it's chronic, you've got to listen to your body. And I don't want to force anyone to do anything that they're not able to do. So hopefully you will feel at least your mood lift. And I'd love you to capture that and bottle up that feeling and use that as your motivation. How does that sound?
Yeah, no, I was trying to find the unmute button. No, I definitely think there's something in exercising, and I know we obviously spoke about earlier going for walks and bits and pieces, and I think it's just getting out of that kind of those four walls, isn't it, into kind of wherever you are, the smells, the sights, and just having that kind of change of scenery. I wanted to touch base on something you spoke about earlier that I wrote down. So I know that one of your kind of ambitions is to get into more care homes. And I don't know if you noticed, I was fiddling around on the bookshelf next to me. How have you found, and I don't know whether you have or not, conversations with local authorities? Have you had any conversations with them about work into care homes? And the only reason I ask is because I was fiddling around trying to find, because I remember it must have been about 6 years ago, Essex County Council and Epping Forest Council did a big bit of work on yoga chair exercises, and I still have the book because I think it's I mean, it's just full of like really easy pictures that people can follow.
Yes.
And kind of, like you said, the research behind it. And I was kind of thinking, it kind of twigged a memory that I haven't really seen local authorities talking about gentle exercises and chair exercises over the last few years. And I didn't know whether you've had that conversation with any or how that's going.
I haven't. As you can imagine, I'm like sort of one person. I've spread myself into so many different areas. So obviously, Ambassador for Diabetes UK. I've worked with an amazing charity that is funded by Sport England. We are Undefeatables. I don't know if you know them. So they've brought together a whole bunch of, I think, 12 to 14 charities, including, I think everything from MS, cancer charities, everything together, Alzheimer's. And they helped really push out my workouts as well. So often, you'll see them tagging me. I've got a couple of my YouTube workouts on their YouTube as well. So it is spread out. They were doing, similar work, but they're tied to with working in collaboration with so many different charities, which is wonderful. So I've been doing lots of, I guess, different things and using the social media platform that I've got to get as much content out there. But yeah, I would love guidance on, I guess, ideas on how to get it into care homes. I know a lot of the care homes have they're doing the workouts. It's through sort of either personal relationships, or they've seen my work and they've seen that it's available and it's free and it's out there. There's loads of people that I know are probably using my workouts, because I often get, stopped now and people saying, I saw whoever playing your workout, or this home's using it. It's great that it's out there, and I want it to be free and I want it to be accessible. But yeah, I haven't talked to authorities, so it's another whole area I could, when I get a little bit of time, to have those conversations would be wonderful.
I think when it comes to care homes, I'm hoping that one day we'll get past it. We're going to hit engagement problems. We're going to hit digital infrastructure problems. We're going to hit, issues with the ability to be able to share this so wonderful, these wonderful workouts with them because of different barriers. It's about making sure that people are willing to understand that there are new ways now to bring this exercise in, and actually understand that they don't have to. And I'm trying not to put you out of use here, but you don't have to rely on having to use the YouTube video. So if your home isn't built for digital tech, you've not got a strong Wi-Fi, you've not got a large TV screen in which you can put this on, learn them at home and then take them into your care home. There's that ability to be able to sit at home, learn it yourself, and then bring that knowledge into your care home and do it that way. So you don't necessarily need the big screen and the internet to do that. It's a case of thinking of other ways around it. Where do you see, Lavina, and this is, I'm just pontificating now, where do you see the inclusion and the accessibility to activities moving forward? So, again, I don't know how accessible gyms are. I mean, I know we've got the Paralympics, but there's still a stigma within para athletes that the learning disabilities are still ostracized, I would say. Whenever you look at the Paralympics, it's always people who've got physical or sensory impairments, and we don't include those with learning disabilities. So where do you see the accessibility to exercise in the future? Do we see a future for people who have got learning disabilities and cognitive impairments to be able to enjoy activities and not just sat in a chair watching a computer screen? Will they be able to do it like everybody else can?
Oh gosh, I really hope so. I mean, now we're, hopefully the sort of new normal, and people are getting that wonderful face to face. The events have started off again. I actually did a few sessions for a community that has, it's just a group that has disabilities. So we had children to adults, a lot of them in wheelchairs, a lot of them, with their carers or parents. And I did a couple of sessions for them, which was so wonderful. And I think it is, it's about getting yourself in that sort of either community. It doesn't have to be in a gym, which may feel incredibly daunting. But I'm hoping, people will do these things in person together going forward, because I think just that human social contact is so important. I'm obviously, a lot is virtual just to make it accessible. So there's Lavina here in the UK, but my workouts can be played. I have people joining from India, Canada, Kenya, Europe, wherever they may be, which is the beauty of the whole fitness world, having just changed so much through the pandemic. So for me, it's accessibility, like through obviously being virtual, but yeah, I would definitely, hope that people can get together and you're with like-minded individuals, you're in a safe community, and you're trying to just do what you can, right, to your ability and whatever makes you feel good.
No, absolutely. And I think even if you don't have anybody around you, like I kind of look at, like, if I was to start exercising now and I said to my wife, let's go and exercise, she'd probably slap me or something, but she'd be sat on the sofa with the dominoes. But I think with walking, you can walk anywhere, can't you? And you can put music on, or you can just be surrounded by nature, and it's just something you can do on your own. I think we touched on kind of the exercises and getting into kind of exercises and bits and pieces, and it's obviously never too late. What would be your top tip to get into exercise? So if there's somebody now thinking, I really want to do this, what would be your top go-to kind of exercise for them to start with?
So I have a kind of feel good prescription. So you'll see in all my workouts, or, I often break them down into different snacks, for things like Instagram and short content. But for my, live workout that's every Friday and all the ones that are saved on YouTube, I always start off with a bit of breathing technique. This has been something I've developed over the course as part of my feel good prescription. I feel it's really important just to have that 1 minute, as I call, breath snack. And it's just sometimes I just say to them, just close your eyes. You're here. You've made it here. Well done. You've got the technology sorted. You got away from whatever million things that were on your to-do list. And let's just kick in the parasympathetic nervous system just by focusing on your breath, which I think is so powerful. So breath work is part of it. I would say we do want to do some aerobic type exercise. So you've touched on, easiest way, I say it's free, it's easy, is to try and go for a feel good walk, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's half an hour, ideally outdoors in nature. But like you say, that's something you can do on your own, right? So it doesn't have to be walking. Obviously, some people have got really into running. I've suggested things like the stair snacking, something that's going to raise your heart rate. And it doesn't have to be vigorous intensity. It can, be moderate. And you're trying to hit about 30 minutes 5 times a week. But I'm saying do it as little snacks, because even 30 minutes can be a lot. So maybe just 5 minutes 6 times a day, or 3 10-minute walks after your meals. So that's the cardio tick. I would love everyone to incorporate some sort of strength training, whether it is just using some tins, some baked bean tins, or whether it's going into heavy lifting, which is what I love. And I've developed over, just over the last 10 years, I've only really been training. I was never into fitness myself beforehand. So that's another thing I like to point out, especially to mums and to women and any age really. It's never too late, like you said. But strength training is key to help maintain our muscle mass, our bone density, and we lose it as we age. So osteoporosis, is a big player there that we want to try and reduce our risks of. So simple things, press ups against a chair, against the wall, seated press ups I even do for those that can't stand, sit-and stands, the leg extensions, using some weights to do some shoulder presses, functional movements. I always say we're doing shoulder presses, so we're trying to be able to maintain putting things up on a shelf ourselves. Strength training is a key part, and I think, it's my preferred form of exercise, because I feel personally for me, it's helped me maintain lean muscle mass, burn fat. So we are maintaining a healthy weight, which is important to help reduce risks of things like diabetes and so on. But yeah, strength training is also a massive antidepressant. There's science behind how it can, mentally it's going to help you as well. So strength training is a key component. I really want every age to ideally lift weights. It doesn't have to be heavy weights. It could even be your body weight. And then I would say, the mobility is something you can develop through the day, anytime you're sitting too long. And stretching is a lovely way, I think, to do that self-care, but also reduce risks of injury. So I always say at the end of the workouts, yeah, you're done, but you've got to stay for the stretch. Don't skip the stretch. And not only is it a little moment to, lengthen out the muscles, but reducing risk of injury. Because when you are starting to exercise, if you've not done it before, you may experience some soreness, of new muscle groups that you're working out. And although I want people to remember me, like 1 or 2 days after their workout, whether their legs or their arms are sore, I don't want people to be in pain, and stretching is a key part of it. So, it's like, don't try and do everything at one go that I've just mentioned, but maybe pick out one little thing that you could commit to, be it, 10 sit and stands during the ad breaks, some squats, some planks, some dips off the end of your table, you know, or your kitchen island, and or maybe just a little bit of boxing, a bit of, you know, star jumps. And I always say, you know, you give yourselves a clap while you're doing the star jumps, and low impact versions of HIIT. It doesn't have to be that high intensity. You know, that we saw a lot of content out there, especially through the pandemic, and that can be quite intimidating when people hear the word HIIT. I always say we can do low impact options. It doesn't have to be high impact. But yeah, I hope that gives people just a few little ideas. You know, just pick one and start off there and build up.
Yeah, no, I think they were great tips. And I think I really like the fact that you said about having a to-do list or finding that time and setting that time aside, because I think Adam and I have had this conversation with so many managers that, you know, especially when it comes to our work-life balance, and, you know, it's something for you is you need to put that time aside or in your diary and make sure that it's uninterrupted and it's just for you and it's vital. I love the fact that you mentioned, oh, go on, sorry.
No, just touching on workplace wellness, that's a huge part of what I do, because through the pandemic, I've been helping a lot of corporates, businesses, organizations. You know, I always was on the radio, I think, for about 14 days saying work out from home, don't just say work from home. And it is, you know, almost diarizing. Like you make an appointment, you know, give yourself that little slot. It could just be 5 minutes, you know, between meetings, or set an alarm, I often say, or dress the part. You know, Adam said he's got this lovely gym gear. So, you know, maybe wear it from the morning, because if you're wearing it, you know, that's half the battle. You almost feel like, okay, you've got to do something in it today. Even have a mat down, you know, at the end of your bed or somewhere visible, you know, in your living room. And it might encourage you to do a few stretches, you know, by the sofa while you're watching TV at night. So yeah, I do a lot of workplace wellness is what I was going to say, because I think it is incredibly important. You know, the challenges that people have faced, having that work-life balance, working from home, now the sort of hybrid model. Am I going to be in the office? Am I going to be a couple of days at home? It's finding that balance and finding something that works for you, because it's your individual feel-good journey. So, you know, do what works for your lifestyle and your situation. Sorry to interrupt you. You were saying as well.
No, that's okay. No, I was just going to say that I love the fact that you said that you can do it for 5 minutes, because I think quite often, you know, you log on to kind of TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and you've got personal trainers that are saying, let's do an introduction. And then they pull out like these massive weights and they're going all health level. And I think that does put people off. Adam, I saw you unmiked. I hoped it was to say that you were going to put on your gym wear tomorrow and upload a selfie or
something. I want you to tag me on Instagram tomorrow, yeah?
Honestly, no, I don't know. I don't think I've got an Instagram. I think I used to have one years ago. I don't think I use it anymore, unfortunately. No one wants to see me in gym wear, so I will be going at 6 o'clock in the morning when everyone with any sort of self-respect will be in bed asleep. No, I just want to finish on the whole importance of finding that time to do something for yourself, no matter what it is, but whether it's exercise, whatever. I mean, I did a sew along tonight, so I'm a crafter. I do a lot of crafting, make my own home furnishings and all of that. And for the organization I work with, we did a mental health wellbeing thing, so I did a sew along so people could watch me make a zipper cushion from start to finish. And yes, it's great to be able to know how to make a zipper cushion, but for me, it gives me, I mean, it took me an hour tonight, it probably only takes me 20 minutes, but I'll make 6 at a go. It gives me 3 hours in a craft room away from everything. And I can just enjoy doing something I absolutely love. And it's something you can get yourself into just to get your mind back on track, to give yourself that respite. It's so utterly important. And we all have to find the time to do that. You've inspired me, Lavina, to go to the gym tomorrow morning. So there you go. There's another win for you.
Yes, brilliant. Mission accomplished. Well done.
Sorry, Mark. I'll leave you to.
No. I was just going to say, where can people find you, Lavina? I know you're going live. Did you say you're going live daily?
No, so now I go live with the sort of chair workouts. I call them feel-good workouts every Friday at 10 o'clock. I would suggest everyone signs up to my newsletter, which is roughly once a month, but it just communicates any key dates, services. I also have a WhatsApp group for the actual chair workout. So, in case I'm traveling, because we are now able to get holidays in, I like to inform everyone, if I'm going to be not live, but you've got everything saved on my YouTube channel. So on my website, it's feelgoodwithlevina.com. You can subscribe to my newsletter. That will give you access to an update once a month. Instagram, like I said, is where you'll see my sort of daily lifestyle on my stories. I share a lot, trying to keep it real and relatable. And obviously, I've got a lot of content there from the first lockdown, all saved on my IGTV and my reels. If you're familiar with Instagram, I'm also on Facebook, Feel Good with Meetvina. I'm on Twitter, although I dabble a little bit, and I'm on LinkedIn under Meetvina Meta MBE. So yeah, lots of ways you can connect with me. But thank you. Put my website up there. That's a good place to start if you're not on Instagram.
I'm definitely going to subscribe to the newsletter. And I love the fact that you've got a WhatsApp group. It's a great way of reminding people that you're about to go live or it's not on, or just keeping in touch with people. I love the fact that you've built a community around it.
Yeah, I share all the Zoom details. They're normally the same, but like you said, it's just easy ways. I want to make it very easy for people, all ages. I'd love you all to join in, whether you're working from home, whether you're in a care home. Don't feel like you're alone. We're a community, like you said. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on tonight. It's been wonderful to talk to you guys.
Oh, I mean, on mute. I can never tell whether I'm on mute or not. I can never find the button. And we've been doing this over 12 months. Can you believe that? A year. We've been faking our way through the world of chat shows for a year already. I honestly, huge thank you for you joining us tonight, Meetvina. I think this won't be the last we see of you. We are going to be introducing a couple of panel discussions moving forwards with the show's format. And I would love to do one around holistic well-being, mental health, physical health, and all the ways in which we can work together, and all the ways different things can work together to benefit us, and maybe some of the controversies around it. A lot of people still think it's kooky sitting down and meditating and breathing and having those affirmations, but it helps, it benefits. I started a session recently with laughter yoga, and that whole idea that if you put a fake smile on long enough, it becomes natural because the endorphins and the serotonin, and I think it's wonderful. So thank you so much for joining us. It's absolutely, well worth listening to. You can catch us on YouTube and the rest of our podcasting sites. Please, if you don't already, introduce this into your care homes, into your care settings. Get it up on your tablets. Do it in the community if you're domiciliary or in your supported living. We are our own managers, so we understand how we can work best with the people we support through challenging behaviors that present as challenging. Just do what you know best, but introduce these exercises. It will be benefiting. It is going to support them at no end. So we will be back next week. Mark and I are going to regroup and have a look at where our episodes are lying. We've had, like I say, it wasn't a break, it wasn't a holiday, but that 2 days in London really took it out of us. And in fact, Meetvina, maybe you should be getting down to these care conferences and having your own exercise panel. They're full of care providers while they're there, and it'd be a great way to get your name out. If you want to, we'll try and connect you. But because we've had those 2 days, you're most welcome. We've had those 2 days there. I turned it into a birthday trip, so I've literally been out of action for the last 5 days. I can't remember off the top of my head who we've got next week, but no doubt it will be interesting. It will be amazing, and we will see you then. So until then, catch up.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know where I think Adam's frozen, but thank you very much, Meetvina, for joining us, and we will see everybody next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Everyone. Bye.